With great power comes great accessibility. That seemed to be Insomniac's model, or at least it should be as of late. In the past several years, they've released the two amazing accessible games in Spider-Man Miles Morales and Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. They also remastered 2018's Marvel Spider-Man for PS4 and PS5 with the same accessibility as Miles Morales. Jump to 2022 and the PC edition of Spider-Man Remastered just got released, so the question remains, is this the definitive accessible web shooter ever? Let's find out. Hi, I'm Steve Saylor, an accessibility advocate and consultant in the video game industry, and I'm also blind. If you're wondering how I can play video games if I'm blind, if you check out the video here or click the link in the description down below to see exactly what I see when I'm playing video games. While you're down there, click the like and subscribe button to help keep this channel growing. I try to release videos every week and every little click counts. So, back in 2018 when I first played Marvel Spider-Man on the PS4, I absolutely loved it. It is still to this day the only game that I have ever got the Platinum Trophy in. I actually have a video of me reacting to getting the Platinum Trophy here on this channel. Check it out here or in the description down below. Back then I wasn't doing accessibility reviews, but it was at a time when games barely had an accessibility menu, let alone accessibility options. Marvel Spider-Man was one of the very few that did. In it, they actually helped to pioneer the ability to auto-complete QuickTime event sequences, the option to skip puzzles, plus also they have the ability to switch between big subtitle size and add a subtitle background, have a HUD background, change tabs to holds, and disable parallaxing. That actually was kind of it. That was the entire accessibility menu in 2018. In 2020, when the PS5 launched, Insomniac not only released Miles Morales with a ton of accessibility that dwarfed what the original had, but they even went back and remastered the 2018 game with almost the same accessibility, such as high contrast mode, full subtitle options, and a ton more. I also sadly didn't do a review in 2020 then because, well, it was the pandemic, and plus the PS5 and Xbox Series X launched literally the same time, so I was a little bit too busy and I didn't have enough time to review everything, including Miles. Suffice it to say, go play Miles, it's really good, and the accessibility, while not perfect, is also pretty dang good. So with that history, let's jump to 2022 and dive back into the game I loved and platinumed to find out if the accessibility improved on the PC version. So off the bat, the PC version carries over the exact same accessibility as the remastered console version, plus controller remapping. Before I get into that, I do want to focus on a few accessibility highlights, mainly for high contrast mode. Insomniac continues its dominance in having the best suite of high contrast mode options I have ever seen since another Insomniac game, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. You can use either one of the two presets or customize your own with a ton of colors to choose from that either changes Peter Parker's overall color to allies and enemy colors, including the different types of enemies you encounter, such as the one word for just a basic enemy, a brute, or one that has a weapon. You can have separate colors for each individual enemy type. You can even turn on high contrast mode for the background only and have all the characters just display as they normally do, but with a muted black and white environment. Or you can have a combination of all those. There's even the ability to use left on the D-pad to turn on high contrast mode at will. Honestly, very, very cool, and I love playing around with it. There are a few smaller features that don't have a robust suite of options, but do deserve a shout out. Back to the puzzle skip options I mentioned earlier. In Spider-Man, you do come across little mini-game puzzles in Otto Octavius' lab, where you have to complete circuits, change power levels, and match sections of a polymer. Much like the original, you can turn on the ability to skip these puzzles at any given time to help those with cognitive disabilities where solving puzzles can be difficult. There are several of those puzzles and you do get XP for completing them, but you still get the same XP even if you have to skip them, so it doesn't punish you for using an accessibility option. More shoutouts is the increased dodge window for motor disabilities, mono audio, which is becoming actually a bigger thing now because those who are deaf and hard of hearing may have better hearing on one ear than the other, so having mono audio sends the same audio information on both channels to help those players. I've also seen this in a few games as of late, and I really do appreciate it. Other great options is the ability to move the camera to face your current objective, and also what I love is the large HUD icons. However, the game isn't perfect. There is no menu or in-game narration. Full captions for environmental dialogue, such as when Spider-Man is on the street and people are talking to him, aren't captioned.
Spider-Man, call call me when you're ready to get serious about branding.
Also as well, even though there are extensive motor disability options, which I will get to in a minute, the combat in the game gets very button mashy. It borrows a lot from the Batman Arkham games combat style, which rewards you for doing special moves and controls and combos in quick succession. Unfortunately though, my fingers got tired on longer play sessions, just trying to keep up. Accessibility options do help, such as increased dodge timing, like I mentioned earlier, but if you have trouble with that style of combat controls, sadly this might be physically difficult to play. Okay, so with that said, let's talk control remapping. This goes in depth, so stay with me. The PC edition has mouse and keyboard remapping, including the ability to have multiple inputs for each control. That's good. However, with controller support, it comes with an asterisk. The PC edition does come with the ability to connect a PS5 DualSense controller to get the same haptic feedback and adaptive trigger controls that work for the PS5. But that's really about it, at least natively, because you can't remap in-game on the Epic Game Store version. On console, it's also the same issue, no in-game control remapping, and also I'm not sure why either the console or PC remastered editions don't have in-game remapping when Miles Morales does on the PS5. I'm guessing it might be a technical issue with the engine, but I'm not 100% sure, and I don't really want to speculate because I didn't work on this or consult with the Insomniac team, so I don't know for certain, but that is kind of a concern that I'm not sure why they were able to do it for Miles, but not for the remastered versions. However, there is hope, because there actually is a workaround on the Steam version of the remastered edition of Spider-Man. Using its controller configuration options, if you have a controller attached, you can fully customize each button, including if you're on a DualSense to adjust the adaptive triggers to have separate controls for when you do a soft pull or a full pull on the trigger. The code I received from PlayStation was the Steam version, so I noticed actually a cool thing while testing where I switched the jump button from X to triangle to see if the in-game pop-ups to push jump would change the button icon, and it actually did. That is actually a huge accessibility concern in remapping, and that sometimes you forget what you may have remapped a button to, and if the game shows the default button icon, you have to constantly be checking or having to always remember that you remapped it to something else. Also, with the bonus of using Steam, the remapping is individually set for each game on Steam, and it won't map all games in your library to that control scheme. Now, while this is a good workaround for those players on Steam, having in-game control remapping is still the better way to go, because both on console and the Epic Game Store versions, you don't have that functionality. Now, believe me, the keyboard and mouse remapping is still a big deal, because there are now players who were not able to play Spider-Man with the PlayStation controllers who now can. That is the biggest takeaway here. I have friends who are now discovering games such as Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War, and now Spider-Man for the first time because they are exported to PC with keyboard and mouse support. So that is still a major win. The ability to be able to remap controls on a controller is still a big issue, but I don't want to take away from the huge win that is just being able to remap at all on a PC instead of being able to do it on a PlayStation and only being limited to the PlayStation controller without either an adaptive controller or the ability to connect a mouse and keyboard to be able to play and remap to. So in conclusion, beyond that, the PC edition did receive a few graphics, resolution, and field of view options, but it didn't add any new accessibility in Spider-Man Remastered that wasn't already on the console versions. However, the question still remains, is the PC edition of Marvel Spider-Man Remastered the definitive accessible web shooter? I'd say yes. If you need mouse and keyboard remapping, then the PC edition is definitely the way to go. Otherwise, you can choose the console or PC and it will still work great. To put in context, while this isn't a perfect accessible experience, this was the first game in Insomniac's library to start including accessibility options, and to go back and remaster it and add a ton of accessibility to it, that's difficult in and of itself. So I applaud the team for doing what they were able to with a 4-year-old game. Plus as well, it is more accessible than most other superhero games out there, so that's a big win for Peter Parker and team. So seeing how far Insomniac has come, and seeing how amazingly accessible both Miles Morales and the remastered edition for both PC and console is, I definitely have really high hopes for Spider-Man 2. I give Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered on PC a 4 spiderwebs out of 5. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments, please leave in the comment section down below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And also, if you want to see more of my videos, hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell icon too, so you can be notified when new videos come out. Thanks so much for watching. As always, I remain obediently yours. Bye.